Hi, I'm Jazz Kangas for Go 95.3. I'm here at the happiest place on earth, the Go Garage, in lovely downtown Minneapolis, Minnesota. And I am joined by the legendary underground rhymer. You know him for over 25 years, making monumental hip-hop. You know him from having a Source magazine Verse of the Month. You know him from his work outside of music as well. He's a very important, most felicitous film scholar and boxing historian. I am joined by
Jake LaMotta. He died today. Oh, you're joined by Hopsin. You know, OG Hopsin.
Star of That's So Raven and Funk Volume MC Hopsin.
Volume. Peace to all my fans. I'm Hopsin.
So what is the hardest part about contact shopping?
No, these are my natural eyes, actually. You know, they always said in my videos, where'd you get the contacts? I said, nah, man, it's my eyes. It's being German, you know.
There you go.
R.A The Rugged Man, R.A The Rugged Man.
Ah, well, that completely changes all of my questions then. So, yeah. R.A The Rugged Man. So, how does today find you? This first day of this tour. Tonight you're going to be at the Caboose.
Yeah, I was just in New York this morning, Berlin right before that, and now I'm in Minneapolis. Yeah, I'm about to rock the Caboose, you know. Got a little bit of a cold, but that never stopped me, you know. I just don't want to sneeze on you.
Much appreciated. Whole new R.A, not sneezing on people. So, yeah. So, you relocated to Berlin about 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken.
No, my daughter's 20 months old. I moved to Berlin when my daughter was born. I'm raising my son was born 7 months ago. They're 13 months apart. I've been raising my babies in Berlin, Germany. Yeah.
And how's that been now that you've been going on world tours now and traveling from Berlin versus traveling based in New York?
Well, it's the same thing, you know, because when I was in New York, I'd be over in Europe doing shows all the time. Now that I'm in Europe, I go to New York and America and, you know, all over the country to do shows. You know, that's what I do. I tour my whole life, you know, so sometimes I do 150 shows a year. Sometimes I do 60 shows a year, but I'm always doing shows. So no matter where I live, I'm always traveling, you know. So that's the hardest part is now that you got babies, you miss your babies, you know. It's like heartbreaking. You're walking out the door and you got the little babies crying and like, you know, and then it's heartbreaking, you know. So yeah.
So congratulations, by the way, on becoming a father. Now I finally get the chance to tell you this in person. We've known each other for over a decade now. Yeah. So yeah, 12 long years, which, you know, and then coming up next year is the 10th anniversary of Bad Biology, your motion picture with the great Frank Henley.
I was doing a show in New York. He had a basket case shirt on, and I was doing a film with the director of Basket Case, and I said, hey, you want to come work on a movie? He said, yeah, sure. So I had him working on the movie, you know, so yeah.
IMDb still has me listed as production manager for it, so it works out. So good looks on that.
That's what you listed as, right?
Yeah, I know. So I'm saying it's like I actually...
How would IMDb change it? Would they be like, you know what? He's not the production, you know.
No, I'm saying because that's what I did. It's one of those things where, you know, IMDb has that registered, so now I could, you know, use that as a production manager credit, which is pretty rare for a first time working on like a major indie horror film.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, you know, the next Wonder Woman. They're gonna be like, yeah, hire him for that shit. Or Galaxy of the Guardians of the Galaxy. They're gonna go like, oh, you worked on that movie where the dick chased all the women around. Come work for us. Yeah. They're
gonna say, "Hey, weren't you clit puppet number 2?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, that was me." So
the clit moving, like that was my finger in the hole making the clit move. Yeah. Is this a PG show? Are we allowed to talk about that?
Oh, yes.
Or you do the bleeping and stuff?
Yeah. Good to. I heck yes. You know, Mr. Peter Parker, R.A The Rugged Man.
Hey, how are you?
Okay. So respect, man. I'm coming to Bogart your whole shit, man.
Yeah.
I can curse over here too.
Yeah, Leeds is a good guy. He's a good promoter. Every time you do a show with Leeds, it's a success, you know.
I remember we used to do the shows. We used to come out with all the clothes on and slowly take the gear off, and then by the end of it, you were on the floor. It was like some of the wildest, dopest.
I still wear more than one outfit because you know, if you're doing 70 minutes or something, and you know, you start with one layer and then you know, you take another one off. It's just different. It's like, you know, I don't have like a fucking whole crew that I could just run backstage and have them dress me real quick. So like I change up the little looks throughout the show, you know, so I still do that.
When I talk to people about you, I always mention, you know, we'll say, oh, he's a phenomenal rapper, like phenomenal, like the bars here, like amazing MC, but your history and what you've been through in the industry, and that you're still out here rocking is super dope. Like I've been fans, a fan of yours forever. I remember my favorite verse was the joint you did with Jedi Mind Tricks, about the Vietnam veteran.
Yeah, it was a true story.
It's unbelievable. Like some of the best bars in hip hop history. So I had to come and show you some love. You know what I mean? Big advocate for what you're doing.
Written about my father. That was a true story about my father. Yeah, Staff Sergeant John Andrew Thorburn, rest in peace. Chaz met him on the making of the film. When we made the film, he had a little cameo before he died. Yeah.
That was I can't believe it's a true story. Like that's amazing. Yeah.
Well, the true story. And then I say my son died. And I came back from the war, but my kids were born handicapped. Yeah, so my brothers and sisters couldn't walk or talk, and my brother couldn't see. He was blind, and he couldn't walk or talk, and they died. And that's because the government poisoned my father, and that's what the story's based on. Yeah, with the Agent Orange. Yeah, it's a true story. Yeah.
Some of the most powerful bars. The verse is crazy. So, respect, man. I had to come and show some love. I saw Chaz doing his thing. I know you guys are rocking, but all right, man.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate you, man. Been an advocate for a long time.
All right.
My man, nice to see you, man.
I don't know who the fuck that guy was, but no, I'm just kidding. He looked like Kelly Pavlik, the boxer. Did you ever see Kelly? Nah.
So, your most recent track you put out, though, one we've been playing here at the station, been getting a lot of attention, is your remake of Taylor Swift's Look What You Made Me Do. How did that come together?
Well, the video came out, and what happens is my little daughter dances to Taylor Swift. She likes her. She also likes Eric B. and Rakim and Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff, and she likes OG hip-hop stuff, but, she likes dancing. So the Shake It Off song she liked a lot. And then when the new record came on, I thought it was fun. And I said, yo, what do you guys want me to rap to? I could rap to that Taylor Swift joint. I could rap to any beat ever. So they said, yo, rap to that, I dare you. So I said, yeah, okay, 10,000 likes, I'll do that easy. So they kept liking it, and so I said, all right. So I went in the studio and just did a little rhyme to that. And then people went crazy over it. I was like, it's just a rhyme. But and I wrote it, and my daughter, like I say it in the song, my daughter was in my arms crying. Like she I don't know, she was like in a terrible mood that day, and she just wanted to be on me. So like I had to hold her, and I was trying to drop the bars with my daughter on, like so you could hear all her crying in the song too, Yeah. The last few joints I just dropped the song with Gift of Gab and Afro. And if you listen to that, she wasn't crying, but I was holding her when I did that too. And I said something like the fish in the sea and the birds in the heaven. Something about how man is given dominion, over that. And if you listen to those bars, you can hear like a little baby noise. A lot of but you got to listen hard for it, But a lot of the tracks got my daughter on them now, accidentally.
She's now like the Flava Flav to your Chuck D.
Yeah, she's like the Flava Flav. Yeah, boy. Now she comes out to the shows with me. She's just my little sidekick. My son, he's 7 months old. He's like his mom. He's a little beautiful boy, bookworm. But my daughter's like the little mini R.A. She's a little wild and crazy and fun.
So when they were born, I'm sure you probably put some thought into this. Do you recall the first hip hop track you ever played for your kids?
I don't know if it was the first one ever, but she liked No Half Steppin' and by Kane, and she really liked Azealia Banks. The 212, which when she hits the certain age, I can't let her play it no more because it's like, I guess that cunt's getting eaten. I get that cunt. And, there's a video with her big mouth saying it. Like, it's just her mouth. It's Azealia Banks' mouth. And it's like, I guess that cunt getting eaten. And then she just likes to dance to the beat and she likes the rap flow. But, when she's old enough to know what the fuck Azealia Banks is talking about, I might have to be like, let's not show her this song right now. Wait till she's like 13 or something, But she those were some of the first joints I remember her liking,
So now you're embarking on this tour with the Insane Clown Posse, your former label mates from Jive.
This is insanity, man. Yeah, so I never thought in a million years I'd be touring with the Insane Clown Posse. And it's funny because they hit me out of nowhere and said, and I was looking because I just did the Gathering of the Juggalos, and the Juggalos came out and they were so fucking wild and out of control, and it was so dope. And then when I was with like Sticky Fingers from Onyx, he was like, yeah, hell yeah, family. Like the real hardcore dudes, Ghetto Boys played the Juggalo, a lot of, Too Short, Red and Meth, a lot of them played that shit. But with the real hardcore rap fans, when I posted that I was doing a tour with them, they were like, "Yo, he sold out." It's like, you stupid motherfuckers. Like, I'm me. I'm going to a show and I'm gonna fucking obliterate the stage. I could rock. I don't care if it's Miley Cyrus fans or ICP fans or fucking rock him. Like, I just played the 40th Rocksteady anniversary. You know, the most hip hop you could possibly ever get. I rocked in Central Park for the 40th anniversary of Rocksteady. So that's what I do. I'm an entertainer. And I go, and no matter what the crowd is, whoever's there, if it's hip hop, or if it's Insane Clowns, or what happens is a lot of these like elitist fans that aren't even real fans of hip hop though. Oh, they're like insecure about their being a fan of hip hop, so they only like this and that, and you can't like anything else, or you can't even tour with a group, or can't do this or that. So it's like, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, what I'm doing is I'm going and doing this beautiful, amazing tour, gonna have fun, see beautiful fans every night, wild out, kick motherfuckers, and they don't understand it. I come from the rah-rah scene, the riots every night and flipping shit. Like, so this Clown Posse, the ICP Juggalo fan base is gonna go crazy. We're gonna have fun together, because Crustified Dibs was the original wild, crazy, sick lunatic motherfuckers, and that's my crew. That was my group. So I'm actually looking very forward to doing this. I'm looking forward to it. And tonight's the first show, and I'm looking forward to it. I already toured the Wu-Tangs and the Mobb Deeps and all. I've done shows with every legend you can name in the planet Earth. So this is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be some wild out shit.
And this is the proud tradition of X-Clan, who toured with ICP as well. So, yeah, X-Clan toured with ICP when X-Clan were signed to Suburban Noise with Cottonmouth Kings. So
X-Clan and ICP fucking toured together?
Yeah.
What did the Juggalos make of the X-Clan? I would have loved to see the footage of that. X-Clan is one of my favorite groups ever.
I'm sure the theatrics they got completely down with, because, it's very similar veins in that regard. And plus, on a lot of the mid-'90s ICP output, they sampled Brother Jay's voice on there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Brother Jay and Violent J are related.
Brother Jay got one of the greatest voices in the history of hip-hop, one of the greatest voices ever. He's one of the greatest rappers that ever lived, because he was dropping knowledge. He wasn't super complex with his words, but no, he was complex in his simplicity, but he wasn't super complex with multis. Not every rapper needs that. It was just, he would just speak it, and his voice was hard, and really, his voice just, when it went on a microphone, on a track, it just sounded so good. And he would say deep shit, and shit that some people didn't relate to. Some people say, oh, racist. Some people said this. But fuck if you offend anybody. If you're, X-Clan is racist or this or that, fuck it all. Hip-hop is supposed to offend you or kick you in your fucking face or make you get your feelings hurt because, he's hurting my feelings. I'm a white guy. I shouldn't hear that. Then don't fucking listen to the X-Clan. But, that's what music, hip-hop is supposed to do. Public Enemy, fight the power. That's what hip-hop is, So that's amazing. I had no idea that Brother Jay and X. I never even met Brother Jay in person. We talked on the phone once. Somebody, who the fuck was it? Razkaz? Or I don't remember who it was. I was with somebody, and they were like, oh yeah, Brother Jay. And they called Brother Jay for me. And we talked on the phone, just like, hey, what's up? Shouted each other out. But I can't. Oh, Gift of Gab. While we were shooting a Gift of Gab video, he called Brother Jay. Yeah.
You ever interact with Pyramid or the late Professor X or the late Sugar Shack or any of the other members of
Paradise?
Paradise, Paradise.
Yeah. I think Paradise maybe on Facebook or something, but I never met Professor X. Lin Q, I met her in overseas once.
When she was ISIS, when she was with.
Yeah.
Probably good she changed the name.
And it's funny, somebody told her I'm German, like I guess background, because my mother's German, my father's Italian, Scottish. And she was like, yo, like first time I heard you spit, I'm like, that's a German rapper, that's crazy. Like I think she thought I was a German from Germany. This is like 15 years ago that happened. But
so if you had to choose a gun to your head, better MC, Lin Q or Queen Mother Rage?
Oh, Lin Q, yeah. I think that's not, I think she's a level higher,
Cool. So right now, in addition to touring and being active all over the world and playing, are you working on a new full length at this juncture?
Working on my full album, and it's really coming out great. But the problem is I got 2 babies, so trying to set up a studio, and plus we're working on Afro's album. So I'm trying to finish Afro's album, trying to finish my album, trying to tour, and trying to raise 2 babies at the same time. So what happens is before this tour started, I went and I locked out the studio for 48 hours. I worked a bunch on the album for that. And then, maybe after the tour I could lock, so I'm working on the album in spurts, like 2 days here, 4 days there, where like if I could just rent the studio for 4 months and just work and work and work every day, it'd be done faster. But right now it's kind of like working on a little here, working on a little here. But like when you get to working on it, it's intense and you really, you're going hard. Like this next album's going to be, a lot of people say, oh, Legends Never Dies is a masterpiece. Nah, the next one's going to be the masterpiece. And the one after that, I'm going to make sure everyone's better every time I do an album. If my albums don't get better, I'm not going to do them anymore. So this is going to be the highlight until I'm, yeah.
How different is it though, making an album now after you have 2 children and not being America based anymore? Like, do you find there's any particular differences and more challenges approaching to it?
Well, of course, because back in the day, you could wake up, I'm writing rhymes, and you could keep your tools sharp every day. And and make sure you know the rhyme a little better, so when you go in the studio you attack the mic, and now it's like, you're up at 6 a.m, 4 a.m, changing a diaper, baby crying, putting to sleep, and okay, boom, making breakfast, put her in the tub, she shit on the floor, boom, 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 boom. Okay, all right, the baby's with the mother, let me try to write. And they're going to be home in 3 hours. Okay. So then you got to get in that mind state where you're a venomous, murdering, killing MC, like where you are one of the best. You have to get back into that mind state after bouncing babies and diaper shit everywhere. So yeah, of course it's different. But they're going to be in school soon, so that'll make it easier. But what I do sometimes, like one time I flew to North Carolina where I had my mother and my niece and my sister watching the baby, and I just fucking wrote for days and days and days and days and days. Like, there's shit like that where I just gotta lock myself somewhere to fucking just write your best stuff. Because, yeah, if I was doing it every day where it makes it more difficult. Yeah, it does, obviously.
What's one boxer right now whose work you really appreciate, you think more people should check for?
That's fighting right now? Well, we just saw the big robbery where Gennady Golovkin, I can't even say his name, Triple G, beat up Canelo, and the fucking corrupt judges made it a draw. It was disgusting. So the Russian, and he's 35 years old, and what Golden Boy and the promoters did, they waited for him to get a little older. Like, he hasn't looked so great in his last few fights. He's not a monster, but he is a monster. But he's 35. And that guy's like 27 in his prime physically. So like, he's going to be faster. He'll be able to beat this guy now. And the Russians still beat him up. And one judge had it like the most ridiculous score ever. Like they gave the Russian Golovkin's not the Russian, the Kazakhstan. They gave Triple G 2 rounds. And then the other judge made it a draw. And the 7th round where Triple G unquestionably won, he gave that round to Canelo and gave the last. It was just like, so it was just they robbed him of his victory. And, I guess they're going to wait for him to get a little more older, too, and then fight him. It's like, just like, it's so stupid. Back in the day when fighters were in their prime, they had to fight each other. The public would say something. Now it's like, it's a business. So they really don't never, And then when they do fight, then you got bullshit like this happening. This fight could have helped boxing so much, and then you get them robbing Triple G, and then idiots are like, and this guy Canelo's overrated. He lost to Lara, it was close. He lost to Mayweather. Austin Trout was a close fight, which I thought Canelo might have edged by a point, but a lot of people thought Trout won. It's like, but they act like he's the biggest superstar, greatest boxer in the game, and he's just like a very good fighter, but he's good-looking, handsome, stylish, and famous. So they just protect him, and he's outlandish, crazy scorecards go in his favor. Even when he fought Lara, and even when he fought Cotto, it was like I think they gave Cotto 1 round and one of the judges. It's like crazy stuff, and Austin Trout, I think they gave him 2 rounds, like crazy stuff. Floyd Mayweather, who outboxed him the whole time, they gave one of the judges had it a draw. It's just like gross,
So, with this tour now being, you mentioned you perform in front of so many different audiences, is it different? Do you cater your show at all to knowing what type of crowd you're going to be in front of, whether it was at the Rocksteady anniversary last month, or is there certain things where it's just,
100%. You want to, every crowd is different. And sometimes you fuck up. Sometimes you're like, you know what, this is probably like an old school crowd that likes your old shit. So you kind of cater a little to like a little more like throwback. They probably got all your vinyls. And you don't give them the rah-rah as much, and you go, nah, you know? But so you want to mix it up. You want to show them the super lyrical stuff, and you want to show them a little classic stuff, but you still want to give them that fucking energy that they can't get at anybody else's show but my show, you know? No, so yeah, you always want to switch it up a little bit, but like, you know, you don't want to predict your crowd too much and be like, well, this crowd are like that, and get in a certain mind state. You want to keep everything open. So you keep all your tracks up and all your little routines and everything, and you feel it out, you know? And if you go, this is a little too standard showing off rhyme skill, they want a little more power and energy. You might skip the rhyme skill, you know, like, look, I'm obliterating the skill, and skip that and go to a nice routine where you get them all putting out. Maybe it's more 16-year-old girls, and you go, okay, let's do something, a routine to get their hands going back and forth, and then you could rock. You know, like give them something too, where they could still see your skill, but like you're still rocking them, and they feel like they're with it. You know, so like depending on who the crowd is, you could switch it up a little bit while you're there. Sometimes you feel it up, you feel it out. You start off with the standard, and then you feel the energy of where it's going, and then you know where to take it. Like a choose your own adventure book. Like, oh, I'll go to page 58 instead. You know, so you just switch it up.
Fighting the pirates.
Yeah, fighting the pirates. Yeah.
So 2 more questions for you. One, being at the very nexus of hip hop and filmmaking, and because you also worked closely with Biggie back in the day, one of your very first tracks to get widespread distribution was Renaissance, or Cunt Renaissance. And now, being that there's so many documentaries and films that have been made about him that are in the making, A&E just had theirs. Have you had a chance to see any of the recent Biggie output or the hip hop films output?
You know, I don't watch too much of the Hollywood movies. Like I didn't watch the Tupac movie. I watched a little bit of the Biggie movie. I watched a little bit of the 50 Cent movie. I don't care, because I was there. I know it already. Like, you know, it's like, you know, you get somebody that wasn't there that listen to the words of a couple people told them, and then they tell the world what happened. But they don't really know what happened. They just go on, you know, but that's history, you know, like people don't really know what happened, but they research it and believe what they're told. So anybody could tell them anything, and they go, well, that must be what happened. So, you know, I lived it. I seen it all. So what could a Hollywood movie with a guy playing Tupac or Biggie or this or that do for me, you know? It's not really my thing, you know? So, yeah, I don't pay attention too much, you know?
Being that you've been in the industry for so long, so many collaborations, you know, as Pete mentioned, the record with Jedi Mind Tricks, as well as going back through so many different labels, having been on Jive, having been on Priority, now distribution through Nature Sounds, and so many collaborations. Is there any record you worked on that people would be really surprised to know exists that never got released?
Oh, I had a ton of records. You know, there was a second Biggie song that me and Biggie did with Akinelli that is gone forever. That's gone forever. There was a one me and Tragedy Gaddafi did when he was like in his prime. That's gone forever. There's it was a different era, because and there's so many I'm forgetting. You know, but what it was is there was 2-inch reels, and it wasn't like now where you just, oh, here's an MP3, here's this, and you put it on this computer, and then you have it on 50 different fucking hard drives. It's like you had your 2-inch reel, you recorded shit on it, and you leave the 2-inch reel at the studio, and you didn't think, oh, this person's going to be iconic, this song's iconic. You could say, those are my songs, you know, and then studios would go out of business, and your reels would still be there, and you wouldn't know, like, let me go get the reel. You know, you just leave shit. Where am I going to put these big-ass, because 2-inch reels with thick, this big and heavy. So if you had, 50, 60 2-inch reels running around in studios, you know, you didn't even have a place to live, really. Where the fuck you gonna put 60? You know, you're like, fuck it. What's on that reel? I don't, fuck it. We'll figure it out, you know? So, like, things just get lost through time. Now, you know, you put it on your little microchip and put it in your computer, the song is forever, you know? He's laughing at me because it's a microchip. Passionate MC on the tables.
Hey, how you doing? I'll bring this up. So one thing is you've been able to like reach out a lot of people, because probably more than any other rapper, you've been on Fox News. or at least painted in a more glowing light than, you know, when they called Common a gangster rapper, which was hilarious.
I was on Fox News years later because Greg Gutfeld. I was on Young Turks. I've been on the most liberal of liberal, the most righty of right, the most lefty of left. You know, yeah, I was on Fox News, a show called Red Eye. It was Greg Gutfeld. And what happened is I went on the Young Turks, and at the end they were talking about the history of the Democrat Party, and me and Cenk had a little debate, and he retweeted it, and then he said, "Hey, come on my show." So I said, "Cool." So I went on the show. We had fun. And see, here's the thing. I believe, just like going on an ICP tour, I believe that if you are genuine to your words and you have a message, it don't matter who invites you. If you're speaking your message, if you don't change your message, don't ever say no to the invite. You know, if you're doing your show, if you're doing your message, if you're doing you, fucking whoever invites you, you know, because especially when we're independent, your word needs to get out there, and we don't have mass machines pushing our shit. So when somebody wants to come up to you and say, "Hey, you know, do this or do that," you go, "Cool, let's do it. This helps my movement regardless." So sometimes people get offended and go, "Oh, if you did this or that," or like something like a Fox News. If you did a Fox, they go, "Oh, how do you do the Fox?" I'm like, "Yo, all you do is complain that the Fox News has false information." So when somebody that's going to deliver truthful information goes on it, you're still going to complain. Like no matter if you are a messenger of anything, whether it's music or art or anything, deliver your fucking message. What happens if you start fucking with Fox News or MSNBC or any of these news organizations, and you go on there and you start, you know, working towards their agenda and changing your mind, or not even change, like they tell you what to say, or this is kind of where we need to be with this conversation, and then you start go, okay, if this is going to get me on TV, I have to say this, then you're a sellout scumbag piece of shit. But if you're allowed to go on any program and unprogram motherfuckers and speak the way you speak and talk and say the things you want to say, that's what you should do.
And then you're basically promoting your music and your message on Rupert Murdoch's dime.
Exactly. Well, look at Raucous Records.
Yeah,
Raucous Records, Talib.
Independent as Fox.
Talib Kweli, Mos Def, Pharoah Monch, Kool G Rap. You know, everybody was on Rupert Murdoch's son rap label, Raucous. You know, and everyone. Oh, that's the independent thing. But it also goes. You know, I had a thought that I was going with, and then you made the Rupert Murdoch joke. I don't remember what it was though, but there was somewhere where I was going with it. But I'm getting old.
How about the not changing your message? Yeah. So that in mind, then, like the reason I asked to bring it up is, and with you getting your music out there, what's the reaction from fans who may not even necessarily check for hip hop, who suddenly you're their first exposure to it, and then you open that world to them? Like, have you heard much of a response from that sort of world or that sort of a fan base?
That always happens. That's the only way to stay relevant in the world of music, because if your only fan base is people that, like, say when I was 18, 25-year-olds were listening to me. So my fans will be like 45, 50, you know, it's like if all you have is 50-year-old fans and you don't want to change nothing or make new music for a new audience, then what are you going to do? Then or you're going to go do shows and perform songs only that you made in 1989 and 1992. You want to do songs that you made in 92, 99, 2006, 2012, 2016, 2025. Like, so, you know, my goal is to every year get new fans coming on the you know, the R.A thing, you know, like that's what you want. And I see it happen. I seen, you know, you get the OGs that are like, yo, that every record label suck dick joint, or then you get real OGs that go like, oh, I had your first demo when you did that Bloody Axe and the special ed student thing, and ha, you know, so oh, those are real throwback fans. And then you get the ones that came a little later, like, yo, I first heard you on Raucous, you know, and then you got ones that I did the WWF Chris Jericho, like, you know, that was my only platinum album that I ever did, you know, and a lot of people, yo, I first heard you on WWF, you know, or then you know, I first heard you on Jedi Mind Tricks, I first heard you with the Wu-Tang Independent thing, like that's, you know, year after year. And then, like, we were just talking about Funk Volume. Like, I've had people inbox me like, yo, I never heard of you until I heard of Jaron Benton, you know, and I bought Jaron Benton's album on Funk Volume, and I'm like, really? That's the first time? Okay, cool. You know, that's how it happens. Or we just dropped a video, Gift of Gab, me and Afro, we just dropped it, and people in the comments be like, I never heard of any three of these guys, but I love it, you know? So there's always people discovering what you do. And like I said, when you're independent and you're doing all the hustle on your own, that's the way you got to do it. Because you don't have a machine mass marketing you worldwide to this, you know, that's not happening. So you got to, you know, whatever it takes to get your words and your message out, and you want the 15-year-old kids, you want the 12-year-old kids to come and be your fan. You know, that's what you want. You want the 50-year-olds to still be your fan. You want the 25, you want to keep all the age groups, you know? So you make music and don't get stuck in one zone. Like, you know, some rappers from my generation only rap to beats that sound like, you know, like Buckshot Shorty would have rapped on them in 1993 or something, you know? And it's like, those beats are dope, but you know, you got to put them on steroids. Let's advance and go forward with shit, you know? Like, if everything you do is a time capsule piece from 25 years ago, how's that advancing anything? It's not, you know? And I don't think if something's whack from today, you should jump on that, because there's a lot of whack sounds coming out today. So, like, just, this is hot, so I'm going to do this whack hot sound. That's not it either. But just don't stay stagnant and make the same bullshit. Like, come on, man. You gotta, you know, have layers to your shit, you know?
You know, it's always good to see new layers of you, R.A. Have a fantastic show tonight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, what were you say?
Yeah, fuck it.
All right. Living legend, R.A The Rugged Man.
Look, living legend got his hand out. Chaz Kangas.
Yeah. For Go 95.3, I'm Chaz Kangas. I love you.